Welcome to Volume 5 of the Filipino Martial Arts. I'm Inosanto, and on this tape, Volume 5, it is a continuation of Volume 4 in the training of stick and dagger method or the sword and dagger method. This tape will cover disarming, angles of attack, counter for counter, and the reversal counters for disarm. Thank you very much. Okay, notice it's as she delivers the stroke here, okay, and I snake, it's okay to do this as long as it's stiff. For an example, if you were in blade work, it would be illogical for you. You wouldn't even want to disarm usually. If the hand here, notice how the blade can come out and cut the armpit as it's pulled. So the snake position here, you're better off not doing disarming when it's sword to sword, okay, because of the pull of the blade will come out and you would get cut. Right. However, in blade-to-blade work, if you have to disarm, which I don't recommend when you're in sword, you would use this strip. Notice how I would bang the weapon, it would be stripped into the body. Okay. I'm going to do this with sticks so there won't be any injury. Okay. If this was a sword, you are better off in demonstrating the strip this way. Okay. This would be the most logical approach if you were using the sword. However, with the stick, okay, let's repeat that again. If you're a sword, you're much better off by switching it first and striking and then placing it here and stripping. If you do not have a weapon in your left hand, then you're better off by switching. Notice how I make contact here and grabbing underneath here and stripping the weapon. However, there are times when instead of grabbing underneath, as we did last time, we would grip on top and the ejection would fly into the face, but for the purpose of the film, I will not do it into the face. Okay? Questions again. Okay? Because when you hit over here, the pull is either here or on the top and it is flown into the face. You're better off if you were sword to sword. But if you're sword disarms, you're much better off in just working the technique from here and then hitting from the position here and striking. What I'd like to go into right now are the 3-point exercises. Okay, we had the 5, we had the 6, and 3. Okay, this exercise, when you do it with the stick, you strike at angle 1, you strike at angle 2, and the exercise is delivered here. This is, again, is an exercise. 1, 2, thrust. Okay, 1, 2, thrust up. The uppercut now is 1, 2, thrust down. Downward figure 8. 1, 2. Palm up, 1, 2, palm down. Okay, 1, 2, palm up, 1, 2, palm down. Okay? 1, 2, palm up, 1, 2, palm down. Again, 1, 2, palm up, 1, 2, palm down. These are the 3-count exercises. That's 1, that's 2. That's 3. Repeat that again. 1, 2, 3. Uppercut. 1, 2, 3. Downward. 1, 2, 3. Uppercut. 1, 2, 3. This also can be done with blade and should be practiced blade to blade. Okay. In slow motion. That's 1. Okay. That's 2. And that's 3. Repeat again. 1, 2. Palm up. 1, 2, palm up. Uppercut. 1, 2, palm down. 1, 2, palm down. Mix it. 1, 2, palm up. 1, 2, palm down. 1, 2, palm up. 1, 2, palm down. These are very basic drills which enables you to manipulate your weapon. Okay, I'm going into the basics right now. Very simple basics of long and short stick fighting. Okay. Remember, there are various different ranges here. Okay. And we are working right now in close quarter and middle range. That means that we can apply dagger. If I was out here, I would not be able to apply my dagger efficiently. I could apply it possibly to the hand, but in here we are striking. Okay. So the first basic that I like to learn is when they strike at angle 1 and the dagger comes at the high line. Notice where the hit is. In reality, we're here, but when I'm training, I'm just going to go here and thrust. Look at that again. See? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, thrust. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, thrust. Okay. As you do this exercise and you come over here, notice that you come up and you strike down, striking at this angle here, covering the body. All the time, notice where my stick is, because if I were to strike at number 1 again with the stick, you can slash and take it out here and come back here if the possibility is merited. Okay, let's try this and look at one more time at this situation. Okay, so again, when the strike is here, okay, you parry with the dagger, you hit with the stick, and you thrust. You can come over the arm at that time and strike, and this is your follow-up pattern. Ready in case they were to strike again, if that weapon was not, of course, disarmed. Okay, now again, look at this exercise again. That's 1, left, 2, thrust. You can come over the arm, or you can go on underneath the arm and do the same exercise. Okay, repeat again. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, thrust, underneath the arm, and strike. Again, it can be done 1, 2, 3, 4 over the arm and follows the same pattern. In reality, when the hit is delivered at number 1, you can simultaneously strike and hit and then follow with the strike here. Look at it again, slow motion. 1, 2, 3, 4 and up or over the arm and hitting. If the hand is retracted, and many times in combat, the hand at high line is retracted because of the hit, then you follow up automatically with that stroke. Look at it again. If the hand retracts because of the pain here, you come right in here and you follow right into some of the basic patterns or exercises that we did earlier. Okay? Now, if the stick hits at number 1, you have a choice now, if it's delivered low, to come out and stay at this range for the striking. Okay, look at it again. If the strike is here and the bottom low, you can use the stick portion of it and come in. However, sometimes because of the nature in your low, that you have to use your forearm to block the knife, and this is a thrust, and that will be ejected here. Okay, in slow motion one more time. Many times, as I repeated before, as you come here, the forearm takes over and thrusts, and your hit is here. Okay. One more time to bring out a point here. Usually we hit the hand here, and we hit the hand here. So when we come over here, that weapon is eliminated. But let's say he's still holding on to the stick. Notice how this still protects my body, and I can still disarm if need be. Okay? Once more. Okay? That if I didn't hurt the man enough, and he didn't drop his weapon, this weapon here is horizontal. Vertical, excuse me. It's vertical over here, so it will still cover the line here for the disarming. Okay? Okay, then there's many situations when my body, I try to strike. This is one of the very basic angles. One more time. I try to strike here. Okay? But many times I might try to curving strike here. But many times I might miss. So now we have to pick this up with the stick. And we go counterclockwise with the slash here. And again we go into the basic pattern here. Repeat it again. Many times I might miss because they might step back, and now my body, my left shoulder is forward, so I have to take the stick here, go around this way, the slashing portion would be here, and I would go right here. The strike here can be on top, okay? It can be on the bottom. I can open it up sometimes crossing it back, coming in any pattern that I so desire by moving in my body in left and right. Okay, repeat that again. See? Again, if I miss with my dagger, and the hit is here. Notice that any time, because this in reality will usually stop the action. I'm still covered if they are still holding the stick, if they strike with number 1 of the stick over here, right? Which would bring me into any of the basic techniques that you have learned. Okay? Again, if you're here and you strike and you didn't quite take care of the stick hand of the opponent, this will strike again. If they still have the dagger again, it can go into any of the different variables that you have learned. Okay? Okay, let's repeat that basic again. When you strike here and your motion is here, your stick is here. Notice that at any time you are in kicking range if you so desire to sandwich the kick in your training. Okay? Again, the dagger misses, your left shoulder is forward, you go clockwise, counterclockwise with the dagger hand and continue the flow. If you're here, in rare occasions sometimes, you will hit and strike simultaneously. Repeat it again. Okay? When you go back on the hand, this is going to strike and hit. Again, you have the choice of going over or on the bottom of the hand and continue your flow again. So when you hit the hand once over here at this range, back, you come double hit and continue again into the strike. Notice that many things that you do is simultaneously. So if this hand sometimes will scoop by itself, again, the strike could be here, 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 or here, depending on the first motion that you make. And the dagger hand now parries clockwise. Notice where the hit is on the hand, and notice where the thrust of the dagger will insert, and still covering that line in case they were still holding that stick hand, so that they would strike simultaneously. You would strike again and continue out into that position. Okay. All right. Let's look at this again, slow motion. Okay. There's going to be a heavy stick motion, so this usually weakens the stroke, or this weakens the stroke, or this weakens the stroke, and this curves around going clockwise, striking the hand, insertion, and following up again. Okay, repeat again. Again, I can slice, I can thrust. The thrusting could be at any portion of the anatomy, okay, but this is a slash. Okay, notice how I parry clockwise. Notice where the stick at all times is protecting here, because at that point I hit and I thrust. I cover up and I continue the flow inside or outside of my opponent, going high line sometimes, going in and out of your opponent. Okay? Now again, if you slash here and you parry with this hand, this stick must remain here in case for some odd reason you get eliminated. So this hand can be still pushed here, and your steel hand can be locked up in that position. Okay, in slow motion again. Right? I slash, they come up sometimes, that would be here, and pushed out into that portion. Okay? Slow motion again. One, okay, parry with the stick, okay, hit, strike, and hit. Okay, notice again that the dagger now picks up the dagger. But many occasions, right, the stick picks up the dagger. And you always zone, if possible, with your opponent. Okay? Again. And that position over here, sometimes the dagger picks up the dagger. Okay? But sometimes the stick picks up the dagger. And you can go under or over as you continue. Okay. Now this is a little exercise that we do, and it's a very simple exercise, but I'm going to break it down into two parts. The first part is when you switch, you would really hit. And then, at that point, you would thrust. Okay? When the backhand comes over here, you come out and you thrust again. Look at it again slowly. Okay? When you hit here, sometimes you leave the stick on the right side of your body, so as you scoop, you hit again, and that will be your thrust. Okay, I'm going to do it a couple more times over here. Switch, and you parry with the stick, hit, and then you thrust. Once more. Okay, switch and hit. I parry and hit, and thrust. Slow motion again. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. Okay. In the training, we do not hit the head here, and in the training, we do not hit the head here as we scoop it and then thrust. In the training, we don't sometimes even show the hit here. We just move the line strictly up, move the line strictly up, and hit. Okay, repeat, please. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Now the exercise here in two parts. When I switch, notice how she counters this. Notice there's a hit into the nerve here, and she hits my hand simultaneously. I'm going to repeat that section again. slow motion. Okay, when the scoop comes over here, to counter that, now notice that it looks like her arm is going to block the path of the stick, but by twisting out, notice where the hit is, and simultaneously smashing my other hand. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. Again, slow motion. I come here, she hits my first hand, the dagger hand, and then the stick hand. Slow motion. 1, 2, okay, hand, hand. Okay, slower again. Very slow this time. Okay, you're coming here, you hit the hand, you hit the hand at that point. Once again, okay, again. You hit the hand, you hit the hand. Now, notice again, she will do it, switching over. I will deliver mine, and then I hit either the hand and the hand. Then we'll continue. She'll hit me. I will hit her. Now, and the pattern. She'll hit me. I'll hit her. This is the very basic pattern. Okay. She'll hit me, or she'll deliver to me. I will deliver to her. Okay, this is the exercise. Smash, smash. Okay. Now, when we do this again, notice that she can work on the weapon itself when she does it to me for training. See, notice I'll just click here and click here. Slow motion again. As she does it again one more time, over here. The action reality, I go 1, and then I go 2. Okay. But in the flow training, and this will be the flow training now, we're exchanging the exercise. Okay, these exercises were made so that nobody could hurt each other. Okay, and throughout the centuries, techniques were devised like this so that they can train slowly and still have no one injured in the training. Okay. Now we put it into flow. That same exercise has to be recognized and identified in the basic flow. Okay. Okay, switching over again. 1, 2, switching over. Back into flow position again. Okay, identifying the motion, hit, hit, and continuing the flow. Okay, back, hit, 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 and going into flow from the position here. Okay, back again. Okay, hit, hit, going back into flow, and finding it again in that sector. Okay, bang, bang, and continuing in the flow. Okay, sometimes, and going back out into flow. So you have to be able to recognize where the motion is coming. Okay, from this you can go into various different disarming, such as you move over here and we switch, and I switch again, and she counters the first time. Maybe she didn't hit my hand properly. Maybe she hit the dagger, and she hits down over here, and she strikes up again with the stick. You can go into the disarming again, or come out. So you have your choice of going in and out of disarming. Okay. Again, let's notice something over here. The technique is the switching, and then the thrusting. Then they will counter. 1 hit, 2nd hit. Okay. Then I'll feed. They will switch over. I will give a dagger. Notice again the first hit and the 2nd hit and the scooping around. Now to do it in flow, you go into the sombrata. Okay, we're going to do the slow. You can pick it up. Okay, angling, angling, angling. This could be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times. It doesn't really matter. Okay, in reality, remember we're hitting. And notice the exercise again. We're switching, and again 1, 2. And we go back into sombrata again. This is the sombrata flow. Again, I'm going to switch, coming across, countering here. If she switches at that point, we move it here, we strike, Again, here, again, strike, strike. Going back in the regular flow, and being able to recognize that particular switch technique if need be. 1, 2, and going back into the flow again. Again, slow motion, switching, over, 1 hit, 2nd hit. Going back in the flow again. And at this point now, if she were to switch it, the technique would be right here. 1, 2, and continue back into the flow period. Okay? This is what we refer to as identifying motion on this sombrado line. Okay, in this exercise, one man will attack and one man will defend. Okay? When I strike, she will defend against this strike. She will defend against this strike. She will defend against this strike. Okay? She will defend against this strike. For the exercise, you strike the stick, but in reality, you would strike the hand so they would drop the weapon. Then you strike with the dagger. You strike with the stick. Okay? Then you attack with the dagger. You attack with the stick. You attack with the dagger. You attack with the stick. You attack with the dagger. Attack. And all the different lines of attack are being attacked now. Now we're going to do this slow so that you can pick up the different ways that you defend against the different blows. Notice that I'm attacking with the stick. I'm attacking with the dagger. I can be attacked with the stick. I can attack with the dagger. I can attack with the stick. I attack with the dagger. I attack with the stick. I attack with the dagger. Okay? I'm going to do this about it in middle speed here so that you can see. Now notice that she's training to recognize different lines of attack. Okay? Right. This is referred to as abecedario, stationary, because there's as many levels of abecedario, and you're flowing, finding the angle. This is at half speed, so that you can see the motion, and you can double. Now, you can attack maybe 1, 2. You can attack 1, flip 2. Okay? Or I might attack here, I might attack up. Then you feed the dagger line. You attack here, feed the dagger line. Again, you can attack 1, 2, feed the dagger line. If you strike it here in slow motion, he will go here, you attack. So you can either attack with 1 attack, 2 attacks, or 3 attacks, and then you come back up. So you can go 1, 2, 3. Again, this is slow motion for the purpose of learning where to find the dagger and the stick. So I might take here and go up here. I might go up here and go here. I might go 1, 2 and take it up here. Again, I attack this way. Again, I attack. Again, striking. Back, forth. This is, as I said before, is at half speed, so that it's a learning purpose, paid for learning, and so that you can understand what this person is doing. Okay. Now, even if I took this weapon away from your training, she should be able to respond accordingly. Over here, if I attack this way, if I double it once here, attack here, move here, again, attacking here, here. The same exercise will occur, and same steps. Finding the motion, finding the dagger, finding the stick, finding whether it goes 1 up here, 2 here, and 3 up here, and then dagger comes in here, over here. Finding where the angles of attack are being placed. Okay, now we're going to do the same exercise if you're long and short, but we're going to use the staff. I'm going to go very slowly here so you can see. In reality, she would hit the hand, because if you hit the hand, they cannot hold the staff. It's very hard to swing the staff with only one hand. Okay, again, the same drill. This is at half speed, so you can see the motion. In reality, she would be hitting the hand. Any line can be used. This is close quarter with the staff. Okay, if I strike here, okay, if I strike here, over here, striking, okay, overheading, okay, striking this side, okay, striking on the opposite side, okay, striking here, thrusting, okay, moving out over here, thrusting here, okay, striking, angle 2, okay, angle with 3, okay, angle with 4, then thrust, angle with the 6, okay, angle with the 7, angle with the 8, angle with the 9, okay, 10. In reality, at this line, as I said before, it would be tried at all times to smash the hand. If I start to give double, okay, slow motion again, okay, one more time, okay, any type of a double motion, you would counter it. Any type of facing motion. Again, for the exercise at half speed, just so you can get the basic idea. Over here, over here, over here, over here, striking, striking, striking. Okay. Okay, this is I'm going to do this in slow speed. Okay, and this is an exercise they do in the college system. Okay, you come outside, you strike. Okay, back. You go in close, again, tight, move out, strike. The angle again. This is teaching you how to learn how to go with different angles of attack. This is a close quarter system, referred to as numerato callada. Okay. Again, striking at slow speed. Okay. Again. Okay. Striking again. Low line. Attacking, acting on the arm. Low line. Next here. Low line again. And coming back out here and striking with angle 1. Okay. Striking again. Number 2. Different lines of attack, slow, so that you can see the angle over here. Moving out of zone, away from the dagger hand. Okay. Moving outside range. Okay. Again, finding the different flow pattern, and again striking. Okay. Now the same exercise that we did with the stick and dagger, we're going to go slow motion again, and we're going to do it with the blade. Okay. First strike is overhead. Slow motion, there's this hit here, and a strike here. Normally the person would be finished, but for training, they make it very, very slow so that you can see the motion. Okay? Okay? Again, attack is at the 3 line. You move out here to zone away from the dagger. When 4 comes in, step behind, moving out. And we're just going to flow here just to get the basic exercise. Okay? It can be delivered in any position. Okay? Again, this is slow, this is not at normal speed. But you get the basic understanding of what is being applied. We're going to freelance it now, attacking at any particular line of attack, okay? What I'd like to go into right now is some of the reversals or counters of counters that we have in the disarming. Okay, notice over here there was a strike, and to counter this, notice how she releases the hand. Okay, the stripping of the weapon. Okay, striking again, slow motion, and hitting the hand, and finishing up the technique. Okay, slow motion again. To counter this particular technique, when they wind, the releasing of the stick, the disarming it, the striking of the hand, hitting the hand again 2 or 3 times, and following up the technique. Okay. All right. Once more. Again, the switching to counter it, releasing the stick, stripping it, striking the hand once, twice, striking the hand again, and following up with the follow motion. Okay? Notice the disarm over here. And this is the position where it's disarmed. Okay? Okay, as a snake, this hand will monitor this hand. The cut hand is here. This is a real knife. The ejection of that weapon is here. Okay, the thrust is here, and the lockup position would be right here. Okay, let's try that again in slow motion. Okay? Right? When you strike over here in slow motion, the hand position prevents that stick from traveling. The hit of the elbow on the strip, and the strip over here, and the thrusting of that motion over here, and the locking of that motion up here with the knife again. Okay? All right, let's try this again from another angle. Okay? The position over here, when the snake starts to pull, the hand is stopped here. The hit is here, the strip is here, and the thrust is over here, and the locking up position is right here. Okay, slow motion again, okay? All right, as the snake comes, the hit is here, okay? The elbow is here, the stripping is into the body itself. The thrust is here, and the lock-up position would be right here, if you were to take it all the way down to the ground, or that can come into a throw. In slow motion again, okay? The snake is here. This stops the progress of the stick traveling. It can also, this hand can also be pushed in here, and that stick is ejected like that. This traps the weapon for the knife going forward thing. From here, all the different ranges of kicking can be employed, okay? The hand is reached over, and the lock is delivered here, okay? Okay, let's go on to some other ones. Okay. In the position over here, when the snake is about to come, notice where the hand position is on the grab, and the strip is hitting the hand here, and the stick is being ejected here as you follow up in slow motion, okay? Again. Right over here, at that position here, okay, when the strike is here, and the stick is ejected, the thrust is here, the lock is here, okay? The other one, though, coming here, notice again where the stick is planted, turning, hitting the jaw, hitting the hand, and the ejection is right here, following up on your motion again. So the counter over here, you can counter before, during. This stops the progress at that point. The hand position is here, the strike is here, over here, strip, and you're following the motion again. Okay, let's try that in slow motion. It is important that you do the disarming, freeze at this point here. Notice how it sort of bounces on the hand here as you reverse the grip. This would hit the face here. It still monitors that hand. That still strips. This comes in at that point, striking and coming back out. Okay? Once more in slow motion again from that angle. Again, notice where the hand would be. Notice the strip over here and the strike here. Striking here. Okay? One more time in slow motion. Okay? As the snake comes here, the winding is here, cut is here, the hand is still monitored, out here, and coming in. Okay? Okay, many times during the course, your weapon is disarmed. For an example, when the switch is over here, notice the switch. At that point, notice how I monitor this hand here. And as the weapon comes in, you have a tap and a hit, and you strip, and the dagger comes in, you thrust, and it's out. Okay? You now have command because you have the weapon or the dagger or the little stick. Okay? Let's look at this in slow motion again. Okay? Okay. When the weapon is delivered here and the switch is stripped, okay, at that point the stick can come. Okay? The dagger is hit low and the strip is here. At both times that has to monitor the other hand because the other hand might strike. So the strike would be right here to here. Okay? Slow motion one more time. Okay? Okay. As the weapon is switched, okay, and disarmed, the stick would come over, I would snake, the hand would thrust, and I would come out, and this hand would strike right at that point here, okay, and then enter, or the other hand might come in, and you would have to move in with this way, and the shot would be here, switching over here to another point. Okay? Slow motion again. Again, if the motion is countered and it's your weapon is stripped, you have to take care of that particular stick weapon here. Okay, that's your bind, that's your thrust over here. Now, if they hit here at that point, this hand will take care of it. If they hit at that point, the dagger will come up to that point here. Okay, and you can go out into sweeping position if you so desire. Okay? All right. Many times during the course of action, okay, on number 4, the weapon is snaked. Okay, and that is the motion you're in. Okay, let's look at this again. So I'm striking at number 4. It's disarmed. And notice the hand position again when they strikes with number 1 angle, that you're here. And now you're already here, ready for the next motion when it comes. Okay, let's look at that in slow motion again. Okay? Sometimes during the course of action, your weapon is snaked here. At that point, sometimes you lose the stick. Okay? And if it's delivered low, you have to come here. Again, the same variable is done, depending on the different portion and different type of weapon is employed. As in the punch would come again, that thing would slash again. Okay? All right, let's look at it again. See, the possibilities will be different every time. Okay? This is for an angle 4. The angle 4 has been snaked. That is the snake here. Strike has been hit. I might keep it, and when the dagger comes out, I might thrust and go over it again. You notice the technique has to be different because of the energy being employed. Notice that at that point I kept my stick. And the strike is again like this. I keep my stick. Again, and then in good position if the punch were to come again to strike out in that position. Okay? All right. Slow motion again. If your weapon is disarmed and you lose it, you have to come in, and if it comes high, you have to be able to block it with the hand or with the weapon as it comes in. Either one will work. But if you scoop it here, automatically you point it here, ready for the other weapon to come in, and the slash would be here. Again, if it comes in here, you move it out. Always moving away from the weapon, and always understanding where the sectors would be. Going into throwing sometimes, and going into locking sometimes. Okay? Let's try this again. Okay? It's a kind of a collie is a kind of a thing where you have to float it, so you don't even know what's happening, but you know that this portion here has to be countered. And sometimes you give up the weapon, sometimes you do not give up the weapon. Sometimes you have the weapon back in your hand. Okay? All right. You'll notice that anything in collie, when it is disarmed, for angle 2, almost identical motion can be delivered. Okay? Sometimes it's stripped. Again, this one you have to deal with, and you have to deal with this. So if it comes across again, and they thrust high, notice where you have to place your hand to come out. Okay? Still monitoring the punch, okay, if the punch were to come. Okay? Let's look at this again. Again, this weapon here was stripped. The weapon came. Again, now I have the stick shooting in, and now I'm ready for any type of attack that normally I would have. Okay? Okay. So you see the possibilities here. There are so many, depending what happens. Right over here, if it was snaked with this weapon here, again, you have to follow in the different concepts of flowing with the partner and moving out. Okay? The long and short teaches a lot of things. It teaches there's a time when to give up the dagger, there's a time when to give up the stick, there's a time to keep the stick, and there's a time to keep the dagger. Okay? Let us assume now that at that point, when she does an inside sweep and she binds the technique, this is the bind technique, there is a time now, see, she has both weapons. At this range here, she is in command, because both weapons can start the Siniwali patterns at her leisure or his leisure. Okay? Well, let's look at it again. Okay? In this bind position here, the strip is here. She will follow up with various different Siniwali patterns. Okay? It is important here, there's a very critical motion. If, in the event that you lose your weapon here, and the strip is here, now she has two weapons, so the technique now is different. So the countering will be different according to the flow or according to the position where she loses the weapon. Okay, in slow motion, notice the vine. Okay, notice right at that point what happens. Notice how my left hand comes in, my right hand comes in, so that both weapons are here. Okay, and back in. Okay, let's look at this slowly again. Right, the vine position is here. Okay, in slow motion, you have just come to this position. Okay, notice that when she strips out, your hand position monitors this hand. When this weapon comes in, this hand hits this and snake simultaneously. Notice where the hand position are located, and you have the weapon. Okay. One thing I was taught in college is that you cannot know exactly the sequential order where they would come in. At that point, you have to make the decision to come in here. Notice where my hand is. On a double edge, you have to be very careful because this will come in. Notice that where the hand is, that this back of the hand here, so this one strips, and both weapons are being used. Okay. Again, on the vine, to understand the stripping of the vine, right, you can counter right here. However, if they pull this weapon back, see, you must, and they strike with the weapon again, then you have to be able to pick it up. Okay, let's look at it again because all the different possibilities are available. Okay, the vine in slow motion. Okay, right over here, it's stripped. You go after this one. If the weapon comes again, you have a choice to take it with the dagger and rewind the route this way, so that you have this weapon in line and hand position, elbow position is here. This can be stripped. This also can be stripped, and you continue the flow. Okay. Most of these things now is that you really can't set it, but you have to feel the energy of a weapon. Okay? At this point, if she strips it out and sticks with the first stick, the rear stick first, you have to monitor that motion, and you still have to monitor what will happen here. So sometimes using the opponent's forearm, you have to strip completely in command. Okay? So at every possibility, the technique will change accordingly. Now, many times when it's bind again, okay, and it's stripped over here, you can crash, and the right hand will come. See the right hand is coming. Notice where I strip. I use her forearm to strip the weapon here. At the same token, both weapons are stripped out, and the hand is entered in, or the weapon is entered in. Okay. Now, one of the most common things that happen to you is that you may lose this weapon. They may capture this weapon. Now, they are in command because they have both weapons. So you have to get rid of this weapon and still be ready for the knife when he comes in, and be ready for the other weapon which comes in also. Okay? Slow motion again. Again, there is a possibility that you will lose this weapon. You will lose this weapon, and you will have. So right at this point here, I have to make a decision. Do I take this weapon out, or do I hold this weapon so when the other weapon comes up, that we have two weapons? Notice where the strip is. Notice where the knife is. Now that you have command of the situation because you have the knife. Again, under the same circumstances, if the same technique is employed, and it's out, and they disarm here, again, the weapon might be on the right side of the body. This might travel first. This might travel first. So you have to understand when to keep the weapon, to counter the weapon here. Notice that would be right on the hand itself. So when I strip, I still have to monitor what hand comes here, so if I can hit the puño of the stick and with the stick in itself. Okay. Again, many times again with the same technique, if you were to snake this particular one and disarm, and she would take here and disarm. Okay. Notice where my hand is, because right now I'd have to take this and strip it. Okay. Again, the dagger would come low, and the dagger would come high. This is where the hand has to monitor it. Sometimes you do not have that chance to monitor it. So when the dagger comes high, you must receive it on this side here like that. Wait for it on this side. And at that point, notice where the cut would come out. Okay? One more time, okay? The possibilities are astronomical on the different types of techniques. Therefore, it's very hard to categorize within a tape here what are the various different combinations. Okay? Again, so it's making position, okay? And it's out. And they take this one, and this one goes out. Okay? This hand is monitored. Whatever weapon comes first, you deal with. Okay? If the knife comes, you raise. Again, you have a choice now. Do I take away the stick first, or do I take away the knife? If I take away the stick, the hand is still held here to monitor that motion. Notice where the line of attack would be. And notice that you can keep the dagger or throw it away. Okay, notice again. The original vine is you always strike to the lower line and then bounce it up to this position here and you strip out the weapon. Okay. The countering of the vine when it goes to the low line is that your dagger, depending on the range, must strike. At the point they come up here to the vine position, this is where you're going to monitor the motion and take it out here and take it from here. Let's try this again in slow motion. And you have to look at what sector the knife is located in. Again, when you strike over here and you counter with the blade, you should be on the hand, so in case they drop it. They bounce it up here to start the vine. You come in. Notice where I put my hand over here. Okay, this is already stripped out. The kick and strike here, and then the hand is stripped, okay, of its weapon. Okay, let's try this in slow motion again. Okay? Again, you counter by striking here. When they bounce up to here, at that point, you don't know where that dagger is going to be. So the hand position will be here. Okay, you can move the arm to that position, and again, the dagger can be stripped in this position. Still monitoring the motion here if they were to come. Okay. Very different locking situations. Okay, let's repeat that again. Looking at the different lines of attack. Okay. Again, you monitor the motion hit here, and right at that point, you might lose it. And now you notice that she has a command because she can cut you here. So you have to make sure that this carries out. At that point, that stick will strike. Now, when it comes in, you can keep the stick, hit the nerve here, still monitoring the motion of the rear hand over here in case that rear hand comes, and going in with the thrust to the point of the knife to the back hand and then thrust. Okay. Again, just look at this again in slow motion. Okay. At that point, right here, check the progress. The minute they go into the vine, they might have a weapon. Notice now where I put my hand because I can strip it here. And again, you can strike. That's really on the hand. Come out. Now you have the weapon coming in to the opponent. Okay? Let's look at this problem again. You notice that the technique changes. It cannot be the same because you have to feel the energy. Again, when he goes into the vine, you counter. Both weapons are gone. You don't know where. This could be in the center line here. It could be out here. If it's out here, you counter here. If it's here, you counter over here. Again, when they strike with the other weapon, notice that I use the dagger as the hand or as another stick, again striking and using the own dagger to strip. I now have a dagger for my completion of my technique. Okay? Alright. Again, when you automatically counter here and they come up and they're stripped, sometimes you want to move here. At this point, this hand here, sometimes you can counter with the dagger, sometimes you can counter with the arm. So when they strike, you move the hand into the weapon itself so the hand hits the weapon. You have your choice now to strip at that point here and still continue using the arm again to strike, going into locking positions if you so desire. Okay? Alright, again, let's look at the different possibilities. When I strike at angle 3 and there is a snake here on the left hand side of the body, the stick sometimes is on the right hand side. Therefore, again, you have to know when to sacrifice the stick, okay, and when to take it out. Okay. Again, at the low line at a number 3 angle. Okay. Sometimes you monitor the hand here, and this thing is snake. The weapon is now on the right hand side of the body. You have the stick of this portion here, so that now this can monitor the motion. Again, the weapon has to either go down or up. Taking it out again as the punch comes again, going into that position. Again, it's very important to realize that you cannot do a set technique. For an example, if I were to strike number 3 here, and she were to snake here, okay, sometimes the stick is positioned here, sometimes the stick is positioned on the right side of the body, sometimes the stick is on the bottom side of the body. So that this over here, in essence, if they pull back, again, you have to be in this situation, and from here you have to go in a nice way. As a kind of sort of review here, remember it's important to learn how to use various different weapons. Okay, when they strike again. When you snake, for an example, the dagger is up. You can use it that way. Okay? When you snake, for an example, the dagger is pointed down. Use it that way. Okay? Again, it's important to realize that you should practice with various different types of weapons. For instance, good to practice because it gives you a different feeling when you use the flat stick. The wax stick. And again, the position of training the toe is down like this, one stick is long. Even the position where this is pointed down and up. Okay? And the short stick is pointed up. See, the same basics will work whether you stick it up, if it's short or the long, and whether it is a sword or whether it's a stick. See, your basics will still work. For an example, as I said before, if you had a sword, okay, and I'll do this in slow motion, and it is supported by what they call in Indonesia the jabang or the siko. Okay? The position here, see, all your basics will still be employed. In slow motion again, how you work that technique. See, the thrust could be here, it could be here. Okay, the hand position, again, could be here. This would actually hit the opponent and then drift out so that you can monitor that motion here. Okay? It doesn't matter whether the jabang is pointed up. This came to the Philippines via Indonesia and Malaysia. Okay? But your weapon now is employed, and the same principle. Notice that we can hit with this portion as we roll. Notice the locking position of that hook there and stripped out. This portion can get here and again strike and strike and come off at very different angles. So you should be able to work your long and short technique irregardless of the weapon you are holding in your hand. You might prefer to use the same technique, okay, with the jabang. Still, the principle is still the same. Notice the hit would be here, or the hit would be here, or the thrust would be here. Again, striking. Okay. Again, as the knife is delivered, using this portion. Again, hooking if you want to, and stripping with the hand here out. And again, still making your motion with this. Okay. So the position here, this is basically as long and short. Also, if the dagger were to come again, you have one up, one down. Siko then can use this portion, either the point of the jabang here or the point of the hit here. And still, the hit can still be monitored here. Notice how we hook the hand out. Notice if the dagger comes, we still can monitor that hand here and still release it to come in so that you have now this portion of the jabang being used at different points and coming out into two jabangs long. Okay? Again, it can be used. So a long and short method means that you can use anything that is in your hand. If in the event that I was out in the street and I had a pair of shoes, my short could be my shoe in itself. With a good hard sole of the shoe, you can take that out. With it across the face or down here, your technique will still work regardless. Okay? A good shoe, a good slipper. So anything in your hand can be used. If in the event that possibly even two shoes could probably be used if the situation merited the situation. And the strike was here, and if you had both shoes here, you can smash the hand here. Automatically, you don't even have to go into disarm. You can smash the hand here, wait for the other strike, and it can come down low, you still have the same response. The essence is that you understand the concept of long and short. See? No matter what weapon you hold in your hand, the technique will work. Again, in slow motion. Okay? The sole of the shoe, when hit, doesn't look like it would hurt. But on the hand, it will bring smoke because you have a good leather shoe, or you have the shoe itself being poked and moving at this position here. Okay, slow motion again. The shoe, again, is part of the long and short method, or it has a system within the system. See, the smash with the heel would be here. Notice again, you would smash again. If the dagger came out, again with the smash here, again, stripping out here, and automatically going into very strike. So the important point here is to understand the concept. Anything can be held in your hand, from a shoe to a short stick. You can employ this art if you had a short stick of this nature. Let's say you had two short sticks, right? The same principle is still being used. Ba-bang! Still the same technique. I'm using the same technique, right? Because anything to jab, it could be round, it could be whatever. Okay? The important point is that any weapon will and has been used for the concept of long and short. Okay? Again, in the concept of long and short, it doesn't matter really what you hold in your hand. A long and short can employ the concept of this, because this now, the short is it, becomes the long, this is the short. So your same concept, bang, see, is still being used. And if the stick comes in, now we have the long and short on the opposite side. still waiting for the position over here. Okay? Again, if you had this portion out here and you smash the hand and you strip it out, the same thing, hitting the nerve here and you're coming out here, and then hitting the knuckle here, or hitting the forearm here, where the brachial is or the ulnar radius is, and still completing the motion, because now this is long short. This is the concept. More important than any technique, if you have the concept, you understand how to employ the long and short of self-defense. I'd like to thank all the people that made this videotape possible, and to the following people for helping me assist me during this case.